welcome to another edition of the Pondwater Dave Show. My name is Justin Davis. I'm very glad to be joined, as always, by my two co-hosts, the man that show is named after, the man who counted Ric Flair's last match, and you can catch him sometimes on the weekends down there in the South, refereeing some more matches, Dave Miller, and the queen of, or the vice, I get this right. What am I supposed to say? The vice president of the Arn Anderson fan club? No.
Printed on her screen. Can you not see?
The first lady of the Arn Anderson fan club, Amy Vaughn. There, I'll figure it out eventually.
He's doing that shit on purpose.
That's okay. That's okay. And it is our Christmas show, so I'm festive. I have my holly jolly Christmas shirt on, and
if you're joining us
there,
video,
there you go, Ike. See, he's in the spirit.
Got it.
Thank you.
Well, as you can hear, we are joined by a fourth guest, or our second guest of the show ever, and that is Pondwater. Go ahead and tell us who you got with us.
This man is responsible for me being in wrestling. He's responsible for me being a wrestling fan. Santa Claus said he's a ho-ho-ho. He's my mom's second favorite son.
Oh, don't tell that a lot of these people.
This is my little brother, Ike. Ike, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I've been waiting for an invite. I guess I'm just chopped liver around here.
Well, we started this and we're on our 6th episode, and everybody expected it to be a world-class fest. So I waited till the 6th episode to talk about world-class. Since my brother was the one that got me into wrestling, and it was our set. This, what we're going to talk about later in the show, was both of our second time ever going to the matches. And it was probably the shot heard around the world that launched world class into the juggernaut it became in 1982, early 83. This ought to be it's going to be a fun topic. You'll get what 16-year-old Dave thought and what 8-year-old Ike thought about the experience. And we're looking forward to it. But hey, I'm going to tell y'all about some crazy crap that happened to me yesterday. I was at Family Dollar peddling my wares, delivering hot Cheetos, and I'm on my aisle, and an elderly, which I say an elderly, I'm an elderly, so it's really one of my peers, runs into me with one of them little damn mobility scooters. Popped me pretty good. And I turned around and looked, thinking maybe he was being funny or, kind of expecting an apology since you just ran my ass over. And I look at him and he goes, "Move." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, you got two options. You can try excuse me, or you can back that piece of shit up the way you came." But
was this in the parking lot or in the store?
It was in the aisle. It's in my potato chip aisle. And I said, "But if you bump me with that goddamn scooter again, I'm going to tump it over and I'm going to throw it out in the fucking highway and you can crawl your crippled ass out there and get it." He put that thing in reverse. It was one of those that beeped when you reversed. You're beep, 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 beep.
Dave was about to have the first ever scooter match. We need one of those.
I mean,
Scooter on a pole.
those little things.
Knowing my brother, we're lucky he didn't tell him to go douche with Drano or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, the manager at Family Dollar was about to cry. She was laughing so hard. Because, I mean, it hurt. Those little,
Wow.
I mean, I would have got out of the way.
I can't believe he told you move. Oh my gosh.
Tell you what, being a hot Cheeto delivery guy it's dangerous. I mean, people don't realize
This Family Dollar's in a medical mall. So sometimes I think I'm getting, I don't know, but I mean, that's the same store
on the line out there every day to get you those Cheetos. Everyone.
That was the same store where that crazy woman called me a peasant. She said, "Move, peasant," and I laughed. And she got mad that I laughed, but she broke out some Tale of Two Cities insults on me. She called me a peasant. Anyway.
Well, Let's get to our headlines. First of all, thank you. That was quite an interesting story. We're glad you're alive, Dave. We're glad you're not joining us from the hospital room.
I felt confident he wasn't going to get up and kick my ass. And I
Probably
can
would
run
have killed
faster.
it less
And I
than
can
that.
run faster than that scooter. So
Oh,
And once again, we appreciate you joining us
Sir.
here. And so what we usually do is we start off with headlines of the week, wrestling headlines. And the first one is an interesting one. And I know it's one that Dave is very excited to talk about. Mandy Rose got that brown star exposed out there on the internet.
well, yes, WWE wished her well on her future endeavors, and we wish her well on her future endeavors too. She's out there doing the
Yeah.
Lord's work.
Sounds like she's making more money showing that beehole than she is taking bumps in the ring.
I bet she's making main roster money.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take money that she bleached it?
I don't even know what to say about any of that. I mean,
I'm not paying for it.
Tis the season for bleaching. I know that.
make it more presentable, I guess.
But I mean, but if anybody wants to get it back to Mandy Rose, that if she wants to advertise her site on our show, sling us a subscription.
I was gonna say Dave just wants a free subscription is all he's doing.
I can't pay for it. Not and stay married.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I guess.
So what do you guys think about?
Gotta do.
Do you feel like WWE, when they told everyone they can't have, these outside WWE pay sources, I guess, almost like on the internet and things like that, do you think that's fair, or do you think they're blocking people's chance to, make their own money in a different way?
I see their side. I think it's ticky tack. If it's like Zelina Vega had her Twitch and it was all video games, and I mean, I'm for the worker. I get how WWE doesn't want it. I mean, but if they're using their real name and not their stage name, and they have that kind of following, I wouldn't want to give it up.
Right.
I mean, they're billionaires. These guys, and they can be let go at a moment's notice. So, I mean, if they already had established, like, and I'm going to talk Twitch channels, not OnlyFans, or I don't even know what platform Mandy's on. I do see their point with Mandy. They can't have.
I get, when you're catering to 10-year-old kids, 11-year-old kids, and then they see her on SmackDown, and then they see her, booty hole the next day on the internet. That's probably not the greatest thing for WWE, right?
Right. I get their point, but I get hers too.
Yeah.
Because all they did for her was by releasing her was giving her a commercial for her site. And more power to her, because she's fixing it. I mean, if that's what she wants to do, I'm not going to judge her. I mean,
I ain't judging either.
So, I mean,
Justin's wanting to know how to get
it
in on it. No.
If I was judging, I'd give it a 10.
But I mean, she's gonna have to put that money away, and while she's making it in the short window. But I'm for her. I'm 100%, and not because I'm a perv. I mean, I'm for people getting ahead. And
yeah.
But I mean, she had a prominent spot on NXT. She was demoted from the main roster. I say demoted. She went to NXT. She's on Tuesday nights on the same channel that Raw is on. So
ain't a bad run.
And she's been the champion forever and would still be the champion if she had. And I mean, I hope. I mean, it's not right. It's kind of it was kind of wrong for whoever shared the picture. I mean, that's not being, you're not supposed to screenshot. You're not supposed to, on those kind of sites, you're not supposed to screenshot and share. And if she can find out who did it, she can sue their pants. I mean, they probably don't have nothing.
Right.
But I mean, but they did her a solid, because she's gonna, really make. I mean, look, $40, and if she can get 10,000 subscribers, that's 400K a month.
You know how
I mean,
many wrestling
realistically,
nerds? You know how many wrestling nerds live in their mom's basement, don't have to pay rent. They're like $40, so I can sit here and, you know, wank it to her. Sure, let's do that. So yeah, she's gonna have a big old following.
well,
If I wasn't married, I'd be like Limp Bizkit listening to the chocolate starfish looking at her pictures. But
that's a deep cut right there, Act.
But my question to you guys is what's the difference between that and on Instagram now they have the subscriptions and you have wrestlers like Sonya Deville pretty much making out with her smoking hot girlfriend on there. What's the difference? I just don't see how it's okay for one thing. I mean, of course, she's not showing her booty hole, but you know what I mean? Like, they're monetizing all kinds of stuff, and it just seems like that was a little overboard for me.
Well, I don't know this for a fact, but I've heard that they asked her to stop, and she didn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a line. I mean, Sonya Deville kissing her girlfriend's the same as when my wife comes in here and gives me a kiss. It's the same thing.
Brother, no, I hate to disagree.
Not for Ike, it's not. Amy, what do you think about it as a woman? I guess you have probably a little different perspective on it.
Well, you know, I think the real problem is the conglomerate WWE treating people as independent contractors, but yet are paying them as independent contractors, but yet treating them like employees.
Yeah, I hate
and
that.
I think, and there's probably nothing you can do about that. If you sign a contract with WWE, you are bound to that contract. And if it says you can't do X, Y, and Z, then you can't do X, Y, and Z. If you have a problem with that, don't sign the contract. Now, and that is kind of like a chicken and the egg, because again, you're treated like an independent contractor so that you don't get health benefits and some of those kind of things, but yet they're going to rename you and they're going to tell you what you can and cannot do. And that's doesn't sound like being very independent to me, you know?
I 100%
So it
agree
really
with
is
that.
kind of comes down to money. And the WWE, yes, they are catering to the younger fan, but we also saw China in Playboy and multiple people in Playboy that they initiated. So they got some kind of, you know, Sable, they got a cut from that. So when it's initiated by WWE, it's a little bit different. And I think that is part of the problem. But the big thing is, if you don't agree with your contract, do not sign it, because you know, you need to follow it. If that is what your contract says, that you can't do these things and you want to work, you should expect to get fired if you're found to be doing things that explicitly you're not supposed to be doing per your contract.
Well, I mean, I agree with that. I've always had a problem with the way, because, you know, as a referee, I'm an independent contractor. And I always have a problem with the way WWE treats their independent contractors.
Right.
Because they sure don't treat them like independent contractors, that's for sure.
No.
But they pay them like that, you know, so.
And I cannot believe anybody wants a picture of a booty hole. I'm just going to say that right now. Like, I can't even imagine. And that,
I don't know who would ever do that and look at those types of things. Terrible, Amy. These are terrible people.
Probably the same people paying $5 to see somebody's feet.
I mean, it's different strokes. It ain't my thing, but.
Well, I guess that's true. And I guess if you, I mean, does she do requests? Like, how did this happen? Do you know the story? Like,
I'll do some research this week and find out.
Are you going to tell Stephanie? Amy wanted to know, so I'm just doing.
Well, I mean, I'm not going. I saw a picture.
Strictly business is all it is.
I saw a picture. Yeah, I think there's like a menu. I think she's got like a menu on her screen.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, like I said, obviously I had no idea. It's like, well, how do you just get a random booty hole shot? So you picked it. You said, I want the number 2.
But she did it. Somebody screenshot and shared it, and she had to know that was going to happen.
Well, yeah, she was doing things that were beyond her contract. She had to know this day was coming, and I totally get. And it does. Then it just starts bringing up that whole conversation of independent contractor versus working for the WWE. And, you know, if you're not going to pay me on Saturday to work, why can I not go here? You know, like, I totally get that. But again, she signed the contract, and that's what she was contractually bound to do. And that's what she should have done.
And she was fully using her celebrity for this side. So,
sure.
I mean, the more power to her, but she needs to put that money away, because what's she going to do next?
You don't want to look at a 60-year-old booty hole?
When that booty hole gets too wrinkly, we got problems.
No, I'm just saying that eventually,
It has a shelf life.
Booty hole does have a
because
shelf.
I mean, now she's the artist formerly known as Mandy Rose. And
Actually, I do have a question though. Do you think this is one of those cases under the Triple H regime that this is to get her name even bigger, and she shows up, you know, Raw after WrestleMania popping up again because she's in high demand? This to me could be a work.
We've heard.
I don't know. You know, the whole thing about China not going into the Hall of Fame was because she done some porn.
I think there is a line. I think there is a line, and I mean, there's people that are trying to compare this to the Paige video that leaked, but she got hacked. She was a victim. I mean, she wasn't putting that out there on her own to get paid on it. That was her personal life, and you know, her phone got hacked and that got leaked. That's a completely different scenario. But hey, Paige Van Sant has an OnlyFans.
Well, we've heard of the Montreal Screwjob being a work, maybe possibly, and now Ike says the butthole pick was a work. So you never know in wrestling what is a work and what isn't. And Dave, I appreciate you going to do the field work on this for us. I know you're going to be looking, your eyes going to be looking at that thing on it like a pair of binoculars, I'm sure.
Can you spell Van Zant for me?
Now, yeah. We had a debut in AEW this week, and quite the name. Kind of sounds like the story of Mario Andretti, a documentary, Action Andretti.
Did you see this last night, Ike?
Jobber. I got a kick out of that.
Now, the interview with Jericho, when he actually said jobber, it kind of hit me like, wow, because they don't call him that anymore. But when he said it, it kind of got my attention. And then poor Action Andretti didn't even get his name on the screen. They put Chris Jericho's graphic up again. But as the match went on, I was kind of about half paying attention, but I kept noticing the crowd was really into it. And I started watching really intent at that. And I'm thinking, man, Chris Jericho's really shining this cat up. But I never in a million years thought that Andretti was going to get the pin. I thought, you know, they're making us. There was a match on Raw a few years ago with Santino Marella challenging Triple H for the championship. And for a minute there, you thought that Santino was going to win that match and be the champion. And that was what this match reminded me of, is that you were believing that this jobber that, you know, Jericho's going to beat up as a warm-up match for Claudio. You felt like it was going to be that. You didn't think in a million years he was actually going to pin Jericho, though. Jericho did that kid a solid last night, made him a star.
Yes, he did.
Amy, what do you think?
I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just never know sometimes with AEW. I like the idea of young, you know, I mean, I like the idea of young talent on screen and getting, you know, getting some eyeballs on them. And it, you know, like, as long as he doesn't disappear for 3 months, you know, like, that's
I've got zero faith. I've got zero faith that the follow-up on him is going to be what it needs to be. I got my fingers crossed that maybe they're going to get one right. And maybe because Chris Jericho put him over, there will be something. And I mean, Ring of Honor might be a good place for him.
Right. Definitely. You know, I mean,
he's small.
You know, usually when people debut, they lose. and then then they try to come back or whatever. But I'm interested to see what happens with this guy. I hope he goes straight to the top.
It was a great moment when wrestling is done right, when it's good, when wrestling's good, there's nothing better. And that was really good last night. That
Kind of like that.
moment.
Kind of like that 1, 2, 3 kid Razor Ramon spot, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
but without the build, which because they kind of put 1, 2, 3 kid out there losing a lot before they let him beat Razor. But so our last topic is probably the biggest topic of the week, I think, by far. I saw this. There was a lot of people talking about this in the Twitterverse. Vince McMahon apparently telling people that he regrets his decision to listen to poor advice, as it was put, and to leave the company. And he plans on maybe making a comeback. So I think that's the last thing in the world most WWE fans want. I think the product has been going pretty good here since SummerSlam, which was Triple H's first pay-per-view. So what do you guys think about him coming out with a hood and saying it was me all along?
Man, he needs to stay gone. Unless he's been behind the scenes and it just got better while he was secretly pulling the strings, but it just seemed like Triple H went on a mission to undo all the wrongs. And if Vince comes back in, how'd you like to be somebody that got out of their AEW contract just gonna get fired again?
That'd be hilarious if so Jeff went to AEW, Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg come in, Vince comes back, Road Dogg's out, Jarrett's back in.
William Regal's like a rotating door, like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I'm go back.
Well, I just don't think. I mean, but if he wants to come back, there ain't nobody can stop him. It's his.
Yeah.
And he's got the vote. I mean, he's got. I mean, he can come back and sell the company if he wants to.
Yeah, he's still the chairman of the board, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
But it's become very watchable. I enjoy Raw, enjoy SmackDown.
It's not a fast forward through to see kind of what happened and then go on about your day anymore. You really watch the segments now, and I mean, for a couple years there, I can't say that there was a whole lot anything close to what they're doing now.
So
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the show has really picked up. I went to my first pay-per-view. Amy and I were at SummerSlam this year in Nashville, and I thought it was a fantastic show. I thought Survivor Series was a really solid show, and I'm looking forward to Royal Rumble, which is always one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year.
that is my actual favorite pay-per-view of the year.
I agree, mine too.
But I mean, I hate the Survivor Series. I mean, as a rule, it's my least favorite, and I actually very much enjoy the Survivor Series.
Yeah, it was good. Amy, what do you think about Vincent Kennedy McMahon making his triumphant return, possibly?
It's one of those things, and we've all seen it in wrestling, where you have someone who retires, but then they come back, and then they retire and come back. And it's just every time it's just less and less. You know what I'm saying? They're not less of the person, but they're just less of the character that they used to be, and it's almost hard to watch sometimes. And I think him coming back is kind of like that. You're the show, Triple H has come in, you've got all these people in place, and it would just kind of be really interesting if he were to come in, because he wouldn't, he would want to make a bunch of changes. It would kind of go back to you would think anyway, because obviously he wants to come back because he thinks he can do better or different, right? Because
I don't think he wants to go out on that note.
yes, but I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see.
Let me ask you this: if he came out on a Raw or something,
yeah,
do you think he would be booed loudly?
No, I don't think so. Not at a Raw. I think
I
they
doubt
would
it.
probably
I doubt
cheer.
it.
I mean, you
No, I
paid a
think
little
the-
extra to some girlfriends. I mean, it's not like he's accused of rape or, I mean, something very some
Well, I think
assault.
he was kind of accused of rape in the 80s situation with the referee in the back of the limo.
Well,
But
yes,
that's
yes.
the
But I
whole
mean, more
yeah.
for what he really did, retire for. Um, but no, I don't think he'd get booed. I would love to see if he wanted just to like make appearances, like you said, so you're not kind of going like you're not being remembered as leaving like that.
Mhm.
But I mean, to come back full time and like take over and run, I think they're doing a good job. I don't know why you would want to mess with that, but like you said, he owns the company. He can pretty much do what he wants. So as fans, we'll just have to sit back and see what happens.
Imagine your ego being so big that when things are going so well, you would come back and mess it up. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got no. I mean, I don't believe that. I don't believe him. That I don't believe he has anything to do with how good it's gotten recently. So
Right.
Wouldn't it be awesome if he came back and all of a sudden he comes out to the ring and he's the guy that's out there trying to screw up storylines, like a work that makes him try to come back and screw up what Triple H is trying to do, or even just parade him out there for a big gigantic, hey, we're going to induct you into the Hall of Fame, and kind of do a one big parade for him, kind of going out. But I'd like to see him come back and kind of play that
That
villain
would
role again to just
that would be
screw with what
hilarious
Triple
if
H wants.
someone got beat clean in the ring or something and Vince comes out to the front, he's like, no, we ain't gonna do it that way. We're doing a dusty finish. Now do a dusty finish, damn it. That would be hilarious.
Awesome.
yeah, stay
All
retired.
right.
Stay retired, Vince.
Yeah, please, Vince. Nobody's looking for you. All right. Well, it is time for my favorite part of the show, trivia with Amy, and we're doing some is it WCCW trivia this week?
Oh, yes. So first off, we're gonna change the rules just a tad, and I'm not sure about Ike here. How much in love with WCCW are you?
I spent almost every Friday night at the Sportatorium through
Yeah,
my
he was
formative
there,
years.
so he's all in. He knows
That's what I
about
thought. So this is how we're gonna play.
I took Act with me anytime I went to the wrestling matches, unless I took a girl with me.
unless Ike didn't clean his room before they left. When I say his room, I mean pronouns pal. I mean Dave's room.
That's
And his
right.
closet and everything else.
Yeah.
Just to go. I want Justin to answer first. So Miller boys, sit back.
Uh-oh.
That way, I want Justin to answer the question first, and then you two can answer, and then we'll go over what the answer is. Okay. I do not want Justin to be influenced by me reading the question and you all just saying the answer before I even give four choices.
All right.
This is actually Von Erich trivia.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm not gonna know shit.
Uh-oh, don't say that. All right. Before becoming a pro wrestler, Fritz von Erich had a brief career as a defensive tackle in the National Football League. What team did Fritz play for? Okay, Justin. Was it the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Texans, Chicago Cardinals, or the Philadelphia Eagles?
I'm going to say A. The Packers.
Okay, Dave, Ike, what would you like to say? Because that is not right.
He actually played for the Baltimore Colts that became the Dallas Texans, but Dallas Texans is going to be my answer. But they were actually the Baltimore Colts when he played there.
Well, it is the Dallas Texans, Baltimore Colts, whatever. Yes. Let's see here. Who first revealed to wrestling fans, that Fritz von Erich was not from Germany, but was in fact from Dallas, Texas area? Justin, you've got Gary Hart, Baron von Raschke, Gene Kaniski, or Harley Race?
I'm gonna go B.
Baron von Raschke?
Yes.
Okay, Miller boys.
I
Kind of got to agree with him there.
Gary Hart.
It was Gary Hart.
Yeah,
It
I had it
says,
down between A and B, but I just took a guess on that one.
well, I'll just give you the little explanation. It says for Fritz von Erich had been known as a goose-stepping Nazi sympathizer. I don't know what
Yep.
that means. Hated and feared by fans. In 1967, Playboy Gary Hart, a barely reformed hood from Chicago, came to Texas and was instantly hated by Dallas crowds. After some ill feelings between the two, which were obvious, Hart came to the ring during a television taping, beginning to berate Von Erich, calling him a liar and phony. He has said he's not even German. His name is Jack Atkinson.
Atkinson, yeah.
He went to SMU and his daddy was a thief. This set the stage for Hart to become even more hated than he already was, and for Von Erich and his family to become hometown heroes.
Goose stepping refers to the way the Nazis marched.
That leg straight, high step.
Yeah.
Okay, because
JBL almost got arrested on a tour because he was goose stepping in the ring. And it's illegal. It's illegal in Germany to goose step.
No, I don't doubt that. Well, that's good because when I hear of goose and we have Pondwater, I don't know. I was just thinking about the goose.
We knew Dave would know that. That was well before I was born, but I think Dave was close to in his 20s on that.
Dude, you were a wrestling fan before I was.
All right. Who did Kevin Von Erich defeat in his debut match in 1976? Okay, Justin. Was it Buddy Rose, Ronnie Garvin, Bobby Eaton, or Mark Lewin?
I'm gonna go D.
Mark Lewin?
Yeah.
Miller boys?
Justin, I gave you that answer last week. I said that last week because we talked about a wrestler, and I even just matter of factly said, "Oh, that was Kevin Von Erich's first match."
Yep.
You know what?
Was it Bobby Eaton?
No, it was Playboy Buddy Rose.
Oh yeah.
But he was billed as Brian St. John. And I only know that because I read that on the pinup of Inside of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. But that was a fill-in because the match was originally advertised that Rick Martel was going to be Kevin Von Erich's first opponent, and Rick Martel canceled and was replaced by Brian St. John, who went on to become Playboy Buddy Rose,
who also fought against Ric Flair in his first match. All right, all that is correct. No. After David Von Erich made his debut in 1978, what was the first tag team title he and Kevin won together? Was it the American Tag Team Championship, the All Asian Tag Team Championship, the Texas Tag Team Championship, or the NWA World Tag Team Championship? Justin.
I'm going to go B, All Asian.
Ike, you want to take a guess?
All Asian.
Dave, you want to tell him the answer?
It's Texas.
It is the Texas Tag Team Championship.
We saw
They did hold the Asian tags though.
Yeah.
first night we ever went to the matches. They beat Kabuki and the Dragon for the All Asians.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
because I remember watching that maybe on the Ringside Rant or something.
Yeah,
We
because y'all
watched
got
that.
tickled. They called it the All Asian.
Yeah. We did. I'm like, look at these two Texas boys they're all Asian.
They're all Asian.
in my younger days, that was one of my favorite matches of all time. I don't know what it was about that match, but I absolutely loved it.
This right here. Whoops. This belt right here.
Uh-huh.
They actually called it the All Asian also, the singles title. It was the United National. But they called it the All Asian. But I had it handy because I wanted to thank Amy for my Pondwater Dave show tile and show her that I put it on my monster refrigerator.
I like it.
But
He's
since we
got
were
the-
talking all Asian,
He's got the rose monster over there, or whatever those are called.
Rosa,
Rosa.
Rosa.
That's right. You're down there by Texas. It's Rosa.
I like it. Okay. Justin, in the early 80s, David Von Erich left Texas and spent about a year in the NWA's Florida territory. What was unusual about David's time in Florida? A, he wrestled under a different name. B, he was a manager, not a wrestler. C, he never won a match. Or D, he was hated by the Florida fans.
Hmm. I'm gonna go D.
Ike, what do you think?
I think I'm going to go A on that one. He
They
wrestled
wrestle-
under a different name.
That was what I was originally gonna pick.
Well, but Justin, you shouldn't have because you were correct.
Okay. I knew he had time as a heel, and I'm thinking this must be
He was
that.
a rule breaker, tag teaming with Dory Funk Jr.
Yes.
And,
Instantly drew boos from fans as Funk was not well liked. He feuded with the beloved Dusty Rhodes. David would win the North American Tag Team Championship with Funk, as well as making short runs as the Southern Heavyweight Champion and Florida Television Champion. By August of 1982, he publicly split with Funk and returned to Texas full time. So,
It's a good tag team.
yeah.
Hey, him and Dory they beat the Briscoe brothers, not the current Briscoe brothers that beat FTR. Jack and Jerry Briscoe. It was on television, and Funk took one of the Briscoes, I think it was Jerry, and he did like he swept the legs, and when he had him pinned, David stuck his leg through the ropes and put his foot in Funk's ass to give him some leverage to make sure he couldn't kick out. I
Just can't get away from the butts today, can
I
we?
mentioned
No.
that finish.
At least give him a hand.
I mentioned that finish to Gerald Briscoe, and he tweeted it about because I posted the clip of it, and he tweeted it, and it wasn't 3 weeks later WWE used that finish.
I think I remember you saying that. Oh, I don't know what we were
I
talking
ain't
about.
used that finish in years.
Exactly.
I've never
We
seen that
talked about
finish
that.
before. And Gerald Briscoe talked about it, and then he tweeted it. They used it. I thought that was something. But no, David was hated. He brought Fritz down there. Fritz was the president of the NWA at the time. They brought Kerry and Kevin down. And if you want to see the worst heel, Kerry Von Erich was the absolute worst heel, trying to cut a heel promo down there. But
With that lip up in the air, like, let me tell you.
Speaking of Kerry Von Erich was chosen as an alternate for the 1980 United States Summer Olympic team. In what event did he qualify? Was it the javelin, weightlifting, the 200-meter butterfly, or the discus? Justin?
think this one out. Think this one out.
This one kind of explains itself.
Well,
Think about
I'm
some
gonna go
moves
Bob.
that Kerry did.
did you say weightlifting? That's what I'm gonna go with.
Let me tell you all of them again. Okay. The javelin,
Yes.
weightlifting,
Yes.
the 200-meter butterfly,
Uh-huh.
or the discus.
Let's go discus.
Anybody else?
It's the
Everybody
discus.
agree?
It's discus punch.
He was gifted at throwing the discus. He set the junior world record while attending the University of Houston, breaking his own father's collegiate record. University of Houston coach had taken on the challenge of being the track and field coach for the 1980 U.S. Olympic team. With one of the best in his own backyard, Duncan chose Kerry as an alternate. Kerry's Olympic dreams were quickly dashed when President Carter announced that the United States would boycott the 1980 Summer Olympics, which was being held in Moscow. as a protest for their invasion in Afghanistan. So he did not get to go.
Well, that stinks. Thanks, President Carter.
And I believe that Kerry Von Erich's record, his discus record, it was the Southwest Conference. It's now defunct Southwest Conference. He set the Southwest Conference record, and I believe it still stands.
Now, when you said it's kind of self-explanatory, the way he did the spin punch as his finish.
It's his discus punch.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right. On May 6th. Now you should know this because we've heard Dave tell us this multiple
Don't be putting
times.
extra pressure on me, Amy.
I don't, well, I just
I try to think, but nothing happens. You know that.
On May 6, 1984, Kerry Von Erich defeated Nature Boy Ric Flair for the National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Championship title, fulfilling a longtime family dream. How long was Kerry's world title reign?
I do know that. Okay, go ahead.
It says about 6 weeks.
Oh, don't give him any choices. How long was it?
No, she's going to give me choices.
You said
'Cause
you
I-
knew.
Well, I do, but I want to make sure I do.
All right.
Are you
I mean-
sure? Go with your gut, Justin.
She'll still give you the choices, but let's just see if you can pull one out your ass.
I was going to say 8 days or 18 days, something like that. 8 or
18 days.
18.
Yay!
Yes. I couldn't decide if it was 8 or 18. I knew it was one of those two.
After
Defended the
defeating
title
Flair,
18 times in 18 days, and he didn't defend the title every day.
right, it says after he defeated Flair at the Parade of Champions, he made a handful of title defenses over the next 18 days. Do you know what his first title defense, who it was against, Dave?
Terry Gordy.
It was. On May
Bam,
24th, 1984, Kerry lost the world championship back to Rick in
Bam.
Yokosuka, Japan.
Yokosaka.
Yokosuka. So you're right. See, we learned something from Dave. 18 days.
18 days.
Okay,
On that
this,
note, though, I have never in my life heard anything as loud as that crowd when he pinned Flair.
oh, I can imagine.
I mean, it almost hurt. It was so loud.
Well, me and Kerry have something in common. His 18 days is about the average length of one of my relationships. So, you know, it's a
Aw.
short time period. All right, what's next, Amy?
Okay.
He lost it in 18 days.
I get
You have a
moved
lot
out
of
town every
defenses
18
until the
days.
18th day and it gets taken.
You're like a gallon of milk. You got 18 days shelf.
Kevin, Kerry, and Mike once did a commercial for a national fast food chain. What fast food chain was it? Was it Burger King, McDonald's, Pizza Inn, or Taco Bell? Justin.
I'm gonna go C.
Pizza Inn?
Mhm.
All right. Dave,
No.
y'all know?
Well, I know it is. I just saw this commercial yesterday on TikTok.
I was gonna say I think I did too.
Really? You're right. It is Pizza
Not on
Inn.
TikTok. I was on Twitter, but I think I saw it.
Yeah.
I was going to say the commercial begins with a smiling Mike sitting at a table holding a piece of pizza. As he's talking about going out for pizza with his brothers,
We're here to show
Kevin?
you the ropes at Pizza Inn. When it comes to original thin crust pizza, nothing can beat it. Except cheesy pan pizza. Come on, you guys, call it a draw. With the all-you-can-eat buffet, you can always go back for more. All the pizza, salad, and muffins you can handle. Made with the freshest ingredients for a super low price. I just got a new Pizza Inn phone for $14.95. Well, I want one of those too. Give me that. Hello? It's for you, Kevin. Hello.
Kevin and Kerry walk up to the table and sit down. It says they would do local commercials from everything from insurance companies to radio stations, but this would be the only commercial they would do for a national chain. Oh, that was pretty
Pizza Inn was
interesting.
huge in Dallas. And then they kind of a Channel 8 News investigative reporter named Byron Harris did a expose on Pizza Inn, and they were really nasty.
Oh,
I mean, he pretty much bankrupted them. Now Pizza Inn's still around, but it's completely different than it was. It never enjoyed the popularity, especially in the Dallas area, that it did before. And they did these commercials before Channel 8 took them down.
I can't believe
Remember they were singing at the end, for pizza out, it's pizza in. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't believe they didn't come and the Miller Family Grocery Store didn't get them to do a commercial for them down there. That would have
We had to
been.
go across the street to see the wrestlers to the
Come to the
Meshack
barbecue house across the street from us. Armand Hussein used to shop with us. And but King Kong Bundy and
Gary Hart.
and I'm trying to think who else was over there. And Armand Hussein, they went to Meshack's barbecue right across the street from our grocery store.
No, it must have been pretty good if those guys are showing up at Meshack's barbecue.
It was really good barbecue.
Yeah, still open.
No, they're gone.
Doubt it. Well, Meshack died, and then
Oh,
that's some of your best barbecue houses when the
Right.
owner dies, the kids don't know the recipes and can't keep it like it needs to.
Exactly.
But if you want to tie it into some other sports, Meshack's the woman that owned was Mabel White, and her son was Dwight White that played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I got to meet him after they won the Super Bowl. I'm real happy about it because they beat the Cowboys. But I had Dwight White autograph.
And I remember on Saturday nights, Kid Craddock, the big radio guy that passed away, he used to do a talk show every Saturday night.
Sunday night.
And from 10 to midnight. And it was on 97.1 The Eagle. And they'd have the Von Erichs on there about every 3 weeks.
David Manning was on there more than anybody.
And we'd sit up there and listen to him before Kid Craddock got all big time. He used to do the talk show with Von Erichs at least once a month.
Oh. Well, how about this? We got 2 more questions. Of the 6 Von Erichs, Fritz, Kevin, David, Carrie, Mike, and Chris, how many were born in Texas? Is it none of them, 2 of them, 4 of them, or all of them? What you thinking, Justin?
I'm gonna go see.
4
Yes.
Miller brothers?
I'm gonna guess 2, and I'm guessing Mike and Chris.
No, I'm thinking 4. I don't think the first 2 kids were born in Texas.
Well, we know Jack Jr. wasn't born in Texas, but I don't think David and Kevin. I don't think David and Kevin were either. Carrie might have been, but I'm sticking with 2. I think it was Mike and Chris.
Justin and Ike are correct. It is 4.
Oh.
It says all of the Von Erich sons of the ones that we listed grew up in Dallas, but only 3 of them were actually born in Texas like their dad. Fritz was born August 16th, 1929 in the small town of Jewett, Texas. When Fritz wrestled in
Fritz, I was thinking the boys.
I said Fritz, Kevin, David, Carrie, Mike, and Chris.
I still wouldn't have got it. Go ahead.
It says, while Fritz was wrestling in Chicago, Kevin was born on May 15th, 1957 in Belleville, Illinois. Coming home to Texas, Fritz and his wife welcomed David into the world, who David and I have the same birthday. I did not realize that. July 22nd, 1958. When Fritz was based in the Northeast, Carrie was born February 3rd in Niagara Falls, New York. So Kevin was born in Illinois and Carrie was born in New York. Everybody else was good. It was in Dallas. Excuse me. What was the name of Fritz Von Erich's wife, mother of Kevin, David, Carrie, Mike, and Chris? Do you know off the top of your head first, Justin?
No.
Okay. Okay. Is it Doris, Lillian, Martha, or Elizabeth?
I'm gonna go with A.
Doris?
Yes.
All right. While attending Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Fritz married his high school sweetheart, Doris Smith. Yay!
Hey, my guessing game was good tonight.
You did good. So did y'all like that trivia?
I
That was
did.
good.
I knew I wasn't even gonna let you play at first, Pondwater, because I was like, he'll know every one of them, which you did.
I beat him on one.
You did. You got 4. I mean, you got the 4 kids.
I'm gonna hang on to that WCCW victory for the rest of my life.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
So, okay. Thank you very much, Amy, for our trivia this week. Some WCCW trivia. It's always fun.
You're welcome.
And now it is time for our show and tell, and we're going to talk a little WCCW World Class Championship Wrestling based out of Dallas, Texas. And Dave, what do you got for us this week?
I'm going to mix it. I'm going to mix it in as we go.
Okay, well, tell them what we're talking about here.
We're going to talk about the second time that Ike and I went to the wrestling matches. It was Christmas night, 1982, at Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas. World Class called them Star Wars. We took our grandmother for Christmas. It was Christmas night. My grandmother, when she found out that we had gone to the wrestling matches, she told us how Granddad used to take her to the sportatorium. They'd sit in the box seats. And they loved going back when Duke Kiyamuka was around. And Granny would tell us some crazy stories from the sportatorium, which we still hadn't been to at this time. We'd only been to the Reunion,
I think Eddie Prather,
Arena show.
I think Eddie Prather remembers meeting your grandma watching Duke Karabuki back in the day.
Is he the ring boy?
I
he
think he
doing that
was.
job?
Anyway, we took Granny and had better seats for the second time than we did the first time. First time we were on the last row at the very top of the arena.
Yep.
We were in the lower bowl this time. If you go and you watch this episode and you watch the entrance that they come out of, if that was 12 o'clock on the clock, we were kind of sitting over at 2 o'clock in the lower bowl.
What I loved about watching this is the amount of fans on Christmas. I mean, again,
sold out 18,000.
People probably got the tickets for, like as a Christmas present, or I don't, but you can really tell how hot, I guess you could say, a territory or a card is when you can bring people in on Christmas night to come to your show, like you said, hanging out of the rafters. That is a hot territory. That's a hot feud. That's, that is impressive to be able to do that. And it's so cool that you all got to go and experience that. I can't wait to hear what little 8-year-old Ike and 16-year-old Dave was thinking and feeling whenever all this was going on. This is going to be fun.
Well, Ike knew more about it than I did. I was still learning. And it was just a fun card. And I don't believe that the way we have them, the matches listed were those are not the order that we saw them in.
It doesn't look like it is to me.
Because I'm thinking we saw. It didn't really matter. We're going to talk about each match, but the World Six Man that's next to the last was early in the night.
Well, let's talk about our first one. We've got on our list at least, we've got Brian Adias defeating Frank Dusek. So tell us a little bit about that one.
It's just your basic opening match.
Let me ask you something though, real quick about Brian Adias. He was
Amadeus, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Okay. He was on Tales of the Territory for WCCW, and I honestly I wasn't sure exactly who he was, but he was as he was talking, he was saying he was friends with did he grow up with the Von Erichs and kind of got into wrestling through them? I know he won the TV championship. Did he do anything else? I mean, like champion wise, or what's he kind of I guess what level was he at?
He was a Texas champion.
He did okay.
The Texas champion a couple times. Championship later. One time when he was still a good guy, and then he eventually turned on to Von Erichs, and he
Okay.
was Texas champion then too. But
Did he pretty
Hey,
much
go ahead and
stay like after the territory closed? Did he pretty much go on to something else, or did he try? Did he go to a WCW or like did he go to other places, other territories?
he was on the first Starcade in '83. He was on the undercard of one of the Starcades. I want to say it was '83 or '84.
But nothing after like when it closed is what I was.
Once it closed, he distanced himself from it.
He got something else. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Tell her about Brian Adias's background.
Brian was kind of as soon as he started kind of hanging out with the Von Erichs and him and Kerry were pretty tight, if I'm not mistaken. That's kind of how he got his notoriety. He would show up and tag with Kerry at night, and but it seemed like it dropped for him as soon as he tried to take the heel run. I don't think it worked out for him, so he kind of dropped out a little bit there. And then I think he really got taken over by the Chris Adams and stuff like that of the world. I can't say he was more than kind of a mid-card guy, but he got in with the Von Erichs and kind of elevated himself through that. He didn't seem like a big personality guy to me.
I gotcha.
Yeah, well, he wasn't a great promo. He was a good hand. The first night when I was watching wrestling, and I just happened to be watching along, and I was screwing with him about watching it. Ric Flair was doing a training match with Brian Adias, and he explained to me that's Kerry's friend, and Rick was using him up real bad. So
okay.
that was that's when I remember my first memory of Brian Adias was Ric Flair using him up on TV.
Kind of reminds me of Mike's 10-minute match with Flair trying to make it. It was almost something along those lines. If I'm not, am I remember that wrong?
It was a training match.
Yeah.
Remember, Kerry drew Kevin, and Flair came out and told Kerry to, like, Kevin would hold his hands up and Kerry would drop kick him.
Yeah.
And he would say, "No, you need to bust him in the mouth because that's what it's going to be like when he's in there with the world heavyweight champion." Flair was out there being really obnoxious, but then when it was it was just a training match, not an actual competition. And there was just an exhibition workout, and Flair was using him up for real, and that's how they were. I mean, it worked.
All right. Well, our next match on our list here is Al Madril and Jose Lothario versus Checkmate and Magic Dragon, which I think I've puffed a few times in my life. What we got here?
Al Madril and Jose Lothario were a very popular duo.
Especially in South Texas.
I don't know why Kabuki's not here with the Dragon. The Checkmate was, oh man, it's good. I can't think of who it is. I want to say Les Thatcher, but it wasn't. It was anyway, we'll come back to it. Somebody can throw it in their Google machine because it's going to bother me now. But Jose Lothario trained Shawn Michaels. Jose Lothario was a huge deal in Texas. Very popular with the Latino community. Al Madril was the same way. Al Madril had been embroiled in a feud with Kabuki. That's why Kabuki was using a nerve hold, and that was the whole thing on television because we just started watching it. I started watching at the end of August through Christmas. So my exposure to Al Madril was he'd had a headlock that he'd do the headlock and he'd take his fist and he'd just pound real hard. He called it Madrilization. But he was on a mission to stop Kabuki from using that hold. So, like I said, something must have happened because Kabuki tag team with the Magic Dragon. This is probably just, probably a 15-minute time limit early in the card.
Yeah, so Jose Lothario. So the good guys go over, of course, here. They're not going to let checkmate the Magic Dragon win, of course.
I'm not finding anything on Checkmate. Sorry. I was trying to
he
look
check-
it up. And,
Checkmate checked out, Dave. We
Les
don't
Thornton.
know who he is.
Les Thornton.
Les
Yeah, he
Thornton.
was-
was who it was.
oh,
there
okay.
you
Yeah,
go.
okay. I did find the right thing. I was looking for something else. I was like,
He
that
had
can't
this
be
neat
right.
style. He wore a white mask and white
White
singlet.
trunks. Yeah.
But if he would get in the ring and just ball up like an armadillo, and when they're trying to figure him out, but he was like he had a counter hold. I mean, it was a lot of catch can wrestling. You put a hold on him, he had a counter hold.
Well, that was his gimmick. He checkmates you.
Checkmate.
Yep.
Yeah. I got you. I like it. I'm digging checkmate.
Pretty
I'm
sure
not-
that in Fort Worth he was the television champion for a little while.
This was actually my favorite checkmate match. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Well, wait a minute. Did you know? Do you remember that Checkmate was Mick Foley's tag team partner in Foley's first ever WWF match against the British Bulldogs? You didn't
Did
like
not
that
know that.
Checkmate match?
Hey, here's my question, Amy. Did Checkmate ever wrestle against one other wrestler that you like to bring up?
Adore.
Mr. Billy Jack Haynes.
No, I don't
If you
think.
want to talk
you know
about my
what?
grandmother, that was her favorite wrestler. Oh, Billy Jack Haynes.
Uh-oh.
What?
What?
We used to talk about him. I'd spend the night at her house on Saturday night, and he'd be on the Saturday night TV show.
Yes.
And she was all about Billy Jack Haynes.
Dave, you
Well-
did not. Billy Jack has followed us in one way or another. Last week, I forgot to tell you, Ken Patera, when we were talking about AWA, and Billy Jack were tag team champions. So Billy Jack follows us.
That's
And,
her 7 degrees of
degrees.
separation.
Yeah,
Yes, I don't even have to do
separation.
7. I mean, it's in this day and age, it's like 2 or 3. So I don't see that he has wrestled Billy Jack, but he
I
might
bet they
have.
ran into each other one way or another.
Exactly. I'm gonna find now. I'm curious.
So now our next match, we have Lone Eagle defeating Little Tokyo. So I'm guessing this is a gimmick match here, right?
Little people.
Yeah, yeah. When I saw Little Tokyo, I'm like, and then Lone Eagle, and there's always like Little Beaver, you know.
I'm sure I dug this. I have absolutely no memory of it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was refereeing a high school basketball game this week, and I looked up at the people that's in their sports hall of fame on the wall of the gym. One of the names, and I swear I'm not making this up, Furman Beaver. I'm like, Furman Beaver. That man deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
If
Is all
you'd
I
like to see Furman Beaver, you can subscribe to Mandy Rhodes.
Mandy Rhodes, that's right. Yeah, okay, so we had a little person match here. Next up, we got an interesting match. We have Kevin Von Erich defeating King Kong Bundy in a DQ, and this is for a what belt was on the line here?
The
Uh-oh.
Texas Heavyweight
You got it.
Championship.
If you are watching our video feed, you will be able to see that belt, that beautiful belt that Dave is holding up right there. What we got, Dave?
It's American.
On this particular night, it was the world class American
American
Heavyweight
title.
Championship. Now, I'm not sure, but some nights it was the Texas title. Some people will tell you it was the TV title, but the TV title didn't work that way. The TV title was beat the television champion. Once you became the television champion, $500 was added to the purse every week. And if you defended it successfully 10 times, you got $5,000. And then the next week, they got a new television champion.
Oh.
So it was trying to run the gambit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always 2 out of 3 falls.
I don't
For the-
think
for the
the
TV
TV
TV title was 2 out of 3
champion
falls.
No, the television main event was 2 out of 3 falls.
You might have to check into that. I believe it was a television title.
We already discovered that Ike knows more than you, Dave, so don't be arguing with him. You already said he knew more than you when you started watching wrestling.
Yeah.
True that.
One of us is right. But anyway, This was the American Heavyweight Championship that was used that night.
Little black and red. That seems to be a theme color in WCCW. I always remember David Manning wearing that black and red. And
This style belt, everybody had one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the AWA Southern Championship was this way. The Florida Southern Championship was this way. The Mid-South, the Mississippi Championship, the Louisiana Championship, the
And if you're
Florida
not- if you're
Championship,
not
the
watching-
Bahamas Championship.
if you're not watching the video, the belt, the World Class Heavyweight Wrestling Championship, it has a big circle plate in the middle that has red in the middle of it with some silver outlining, it looks like. And then it has 4 smaller circles all around the straps on either side. So, and then it has a red line of going through the leather after the last plates. In the middle of the leather, a red kind of line going through the
Like
black.
a pinstripe, like
Yeah.
like the pants, like you were saying.
Paul Bosch actually had one of these that was said American Heavyweight Championship on it that Gino Hernandez held, and it had 7 plates, but it was all silver.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Every
you know
plate
who
was-
made this belt, Dave?
Reggie Parks.
Reggie Parks made that. Okay.
Oh, not the one I'm holding, but
Oh,
the
right,
original
right.
belt was made by Reggie Parks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't
Now,
that
did-
the Texas title that Jimmy Garvin held too?
What's that?
Isn't that the same belt that was a Texas title when Garvin held it?
Yes. Yeah, it was used all the time for the Texas title in Dallas, except for this particular night.
Now, me just thinking about this match, we have Kevin Von Erich. This is 1982. I don't know if we told you all this. This show is from what was it?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day,
Christmas night.
1982. Christmas night, 1982.
Well, yes, Christmas night. Sorry.
So Kevin Von Erich versus a young King Kong Bundy sounds like a pretty good match. How was it?
Brutal. I mean, they beat the crap out of each other. It was impressive.
Was he going by King Kong Bundy or was he Big Bad? Was he? He had
He
a
was
different
Big Daddy
name.
Bundy, but after the heel turn, he became King Kong Bundy.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Kevin had cost him his hair. When Kevin won the American Championship back, they shaved his head.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and look when Bundy retired Fritz Von Erich retired, Bundy still had a head of hair.
Yep.
Fritz actually pinned him in the end zone at Texas Stadium because it was Falls Count Anywhere.
Now, what did Bundy get DQ'd for?
Probably threw him over the top rope.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's probably the old culprit there.
I'm pretty sure that it was a throwing him over the top rope, probably.
World Class is known as being notoriously stiff. And I remember that match being, I mean, they beat the snot out of each other pretty bad.
And I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure Kevin body slammed him.
Now, was Kevin wrestling without boots here?
Yes.
Even back then he was. Okay.
But
He
then that
never
was just
wore
racing.
shoes.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did?
Amy, I've seen a match with him on Georgia Championship Wrestling against Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and they both were wearing boots.
Really?
Yes.
Because even on that, he could have been wearing flip flops. But again, I go back to Tales of the Territory. They're talking about the story about Buddy Roberts'
Yeah.
teeth going into his, and he puts his foot up on the table. So he must have had flip flops, or he probably was barefoot. I didn't
Kevin
know.
wears
but-
flip flops everywhere.
Oh, I did not
Very
realize
good
he
flip-flops.
wrestled with shoes. I thought he always,
Well, I was surprised. I watched the opening backstage interview on this show,
Mhm.
and it was David and Kevin back there being interviewed. David was a foot taller than Kevin, like a lot. It looked like I was
Mhm.
shocked by how
Oh,
much
David
taller.
was huge. I mean, he was very tall.
Hmm.
And see, we didn't know what was going on with the interviews. We couldn't hear the interviews in the arena.
Right.
So the foreshadowing that was set up by watching the episode, we didn't have that. We were just reacting.
Right.
Once we got to see the interviews, we kind of understood why Michael Hayes was agitated, which we'll get to. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but
Yeah. Well, we can go ahead and go to the next match.
Hey, Justin, can I tell you something real quick? I'm sorry. From Championship Wrestling from Florida, October 29th, 1983. Billy Jack beat Checkmate
There
with
it
a full
is.
Nelson.
Don't you don't want him Billy Jack's full Nelson there,
I'm
checkmate.
just telling you.
Checkmate
I
got
mean,
checkmated by the full Nelson, it sounds like.
exactly. So
We
There
talk
it
about
is.
again,
Christmas. We talk about
Huh?
Christmas of '84. I'll have a Billy Jack story.
oh, okay.
Oh, he saw him in a bathroom. He was hog watching, I think David was.
Hey, that was the
Uh,
night I was on the. That was the night I was on the front row. Did I take you and you were sitting up higher?
Yeah, I sat up higher.
I can't imagine that I left you at home.
No, that would have been wrong.
David and his girlfriend got the good seats, and
We
they put
did.
Ike up in the top row.
We did. You can
Ike was
see me.
hanging from the rafters, literally up there.
You can see me wearing a sweater with a white shirt collar coming out over the sweater.
We have to
With my
definitely
full
do that
afro
watch
on the front
along.
row.
Following Dave.
Dave looking
yeah.
like the lead singer from Jefferson Starship on the front row.
I was going to say Sparky the Firefly from Bugaloos, but that'll work.
All right. Well, our next match is Kevin's brother, David Von Erich, the aforementioned tall person, defeating Bill Irwin. What is that? They call him Wild Bill Irwin?
Wild Bill Irwin.
That's what I thought. Okay. What you got there? There's the championship for this that David won in this match. This one is very different. It's solid gold, like almost the big gold type
Yes.
of face plate.
It's a 7-plater.
Yep.
I
And
like
back
that
then-
one.
And back then, Bob Backlund's WWF title was this way. WWF Championship, the Rock and Roll Express's World Tag Team Championships. These were made by
I feel like WCCW like their red leather.
I'm trying to think of. I can't. Not Veterian. Man, Malkovich. Malkovich was the belt maker that did all the cast belts back then, and you would have saw belts similar to this all throughout.
Man,
Because
you can see
when one territory did them, they all did them.
Right.
what I like
So-
about this belt, if you look into the plate, put that up there close to the camera, Dave, where you can see how, like you're saying, the intricate kind of extra details in the gold kind of behind
Hang on.
just as the layer there.
I'm
Is
calling
that
it
a
off.
phoenix? What is that? Is a bird in the middle?
Yeah,
What
it's
is
like
that?
it's like a bird phoenix looking thing.
Yeah, that's
But
kind of
then
what.
I'm talking about like the little squibbles in the
Oh
gold.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yes.
Kind of like the big gold.
This is a
is.
better version.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
Texas
This is the
now.
Texas Tag Team, but
Yeah, I'm talking about those kind of rectangles made in the gold in the back.
It kind of looks like
background
a like an animal, like a reptilian skin.
Yeah.
You know, like a snake skin.
there. Yeah.
I like that.
So there
Well-
that is. Was David Von Erich defending this belt here, Dave, or did he win the championship?
no, he was defending it. He was champion coming
Okay.
in.
Yeah.
You know, Wild Bill Irwin traded the belt several times.
You want to tell us a little bit for the fans that don't know much about Wild Bill Irwin, who he was?
You want
Wild Bill was he was a workhorse. I mean, he put his time in every weekend. He was I think he was on TV just about every week. And then what was his brother's name?
Scott Hogg Irwin.
Scott Hogg Irwin. So they would come in there and then they would tag team, but Wild Bill, he come in there with that bull whip. And I mean, for back then, he strike fear in your heart.
Was he a big guy?
Yeah.
He was good size.
Well, you
What'd you
probably
say?
know him. You probably know him as the Goon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, red hair,
Really?
He was
kind of
the
reddish
Goon.
hair.
And I'm gonna tell you another thing. And we used to call him Chauncey. He hated to be called Chauncey.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's hit Chauncey, and he'd sell it. He hated to be called Chauncey, but he left. He left for a couple months, and then Akbar brought in the Super Destroyers, and he was one of the Super Destroyers with his brother Scott.
Oh,
And eventually, they unmasked and became the Long Riders. They even went to the AWA as the Long Riders. They were on one of those Super Clash cards.
Well,
They
that's
actually had
interesting.
their action figures. The AWA, when AWA first came out with their action figures, the old Road Warriors,
Hmm.
the Irwin brothers were one that I had growing up.
Cool.
They were that original set of wrestling action figures.
Yeah,
Then he went to the WWF and they made him the Goon.
Mm.
yeah. Ike, you still got those toys? Because I might be interested in buying them.
Oh, believe me, I wish I did. As a matter of fact, I was so old and still playing with them that I think my sister-in-law buried them in the yard. I'm not bitter or anything.
Uh-oh, Dave's got something for us again here on the show and tell.
Well, there's
There
the
it is. There's the
goon.
goon. He's got a
Closest thing to a
figure of the
Wild Bill
goon.
Irwin action figure I was ever going to get.
There's that flowing locks of red hair that I
No
remember.
kidding. Well, who would have known? I did not realize that. That's good to know.
So the next match is going to take me a minute to get through because it is a battle royal. And it's going to be won by Ken Mantell, who defeats a lot of people. Al Madrill, Ben Sharp, Bill Irwin, Brian Diaz, Bugsy McGraw, Checkmate, of course, David Von Erich, Frank Dusek, Iron Mike Sharp, Jose Lothario, King Kong Bundy, Magic Dragon, The Spoiler, and Tom Steele. So a lot of people in there, obviously. How many people was that? I didn't even count them up. 1, 2, 3.
Normally those were what, 10 man or 12 man.
I think this one was 20-man battle royal.
Oh, that's a lot for them.
Yeah.
Did they get a prize? Did they get a check?
No, they would have called it. I'm certain it was
Oh.
$10,000.
Yeah.
It was
I do believe Ken Mantell won money on this.
probably 10,000.
Yeah.
So we were sitting at 2:00 in the arena. So we walked over to see the wrestlers come out between the matches. You'd see kids go up and they'd climb up on the apron to get autographs in the ring. I mean, to get them to, they'd pile up there. But we'd also go up to the guardrail and look over to see the wrestlers coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my brother, who'd you love, Ike?
I love me some Bugsy McGraw.
So I could take him over there because he's 8. And he's leaning up against the rail and I'm behind him. I'm just standing behind him because I can see over him. Well, then the crowd surges. And I have to grab the rail. And with all my strength, I got my brother in front of me. And I'm trying to keep from squishing him up against this rail. I mean, he got squished and I had to pull back off of it. So
yeah, both of us were holding on for dear life. I'll never forget that.
It's crazy. And I don't believe I ever made the attempt to go do that again.
How that guardrail stayed up, I don't know.
Did you ever go up there to the ring trying to get an autograph on the apron?
Only at high school shows. We went and saw the Von Erichs at a few high schools. I got autographs up there, but I didn't really like the sportatorium and stuff. I never really did it there.
I walked up there one time when Jerry Lawler the first night Jerry Lawler came in to wrestle, and he wouldn't autograph for anybody. You saw Flair at Seagoville, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. I did. We used to catch every Saturday afternoon or so. You could always go see the Von Erichs in WCW different high schools, and back then you could just run up to the apron, and get autographs.
There were no guardrails. It was just a rope.
Yeah.
And they let you up, and then they tell you, all right, as soon as the match started, hey, you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'd come home with 3, 4, 5 good autographs a week.
They didn't realize Dave could just walk right under that rope. He didn't need to stoop or nothing. He just walked right out under the rope.
You remember going to Fair Park Coliseum for our birthdays?
Mm-hmm.
Mom took us. We almost crapped our pants when Terry Gordy hit that boy and knocked him back 3 or 4 rows. Y'all seen that video?
Yes, I have. You were there for this?
Yes. We were sitting. If we were looking at the ring, we were on second row. we've my mom took us in a group. It was for our birthday. So
I think our sister Lisa went with us.
and we were right there like second row, but if you were Gordy, it happened on the right of us. Like we were here, and then if you made it come around the ring, it was just one section over from us that happened. It was crazy because Gordy got out of the ring and knocked shit out more.
If y'all haven't seen that video, check it out on. It's everywhere, but just Terry Gordy punching a fan will probably get it looked up on your Google machine. But he knocks the hell out of this dude.
And didn't Michael Hayes almost break your finger one night at the Sportatorium, Dave? Didn't he jab you in the hand or something? I think you were telling him he was number one.
Yeah.
Well,
Michael Hayes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it may have been
Yeah.
Michael Hayes because he went like that and he caught my finger.
speaking of number one, our next match is David Von Erich, this is his third match on this card, by the way. This is like King of the Ring for David Von
Well,
Erich.
in context, this is actually his first match of the night
Yeah.
because they did this match early in the night.
Yeah.
Okay. David Von Erich and Michael Hayes and the aforementioned Bam Bam Terry Gordy against Ben Sharp and Iron Mike Sharp. It's the whole dang Sharp family. And Tom Steele, of course. We can't forget Tom Steele. So David and Hayes and Gordy, of course, win this match because we're not putting over Iron Mike Sharp over Von Erich ever.
They come out, Buddy Roberts and Terry Gordy come out to the ring. And Michael gets on there and says, "Hey, the weather's bad in Colorado. Buddy couldn't get here."
Oh, yeah. I've heard this story.
So David comes out and offers, and I still crack up how I heard it, "I offer my body to you." So
I've done that to a lot of people. They just don't take it.
And I mean, David was wearing his sweats. And so he had to take his sweats off in the ring to wrestle. Because he's, you know, if y'all help my brothers, I'll help you because your brother's not here. And so that was kind of and you know, if you'll go back and look at it, David's wearing yellow tights with a black stripe on them.
Mm-hmm.
And those tights are hanging on my wall right over there.
Yeah, those are the ones you have.
Yeah.
So this match, David joins the Michael and Terry because, as you said, our old dude Buddy wasn't there. So pretty easy win though overall. Probably not a real long match.
Had two referees.
Yeah.
Had two referees, and they weren't calling. They still didn't call stuff.
Well,
that's what stuck out to me is that they actually had two referees.
On the basketball court I was on last night, there was three referees, and they didn't think we called anything either.
But we didn't know at the time what was going on at ringside afterwards, and David won it, but then he relinquished it to Buddy Roberts because he said he wanted to be part of the Von Erich tag team. Yeah. And when you watch that, you see Michael getting agitated about it. Yeah. And so that's foreshadowing. That's what's fixing to come up.
So you all couldn't hear that? I mean, like, did it have a sound system, or you just couldn't hear it?
They didn't broadcast the interviews for television on the loudspeaker.
Only thing you heard at those shows was the announcer, and that was it.
If they got in the ring and did an interview, like ringside interviews, you couldn't hear in the arena. But on Saturday Night Wrestling, if they did interviews in the ring, you could hear them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, speaking of in the ring, I'm the greatest of all time in the ring is in this next match. It's Kerry Von Erich versus the champion, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and he strolls out here in his nice red robe with the Nature Boy in diamonds on the back, of course. And Kerry comes out in his white tights, red for Rick, in the cage. One of the most memorable matches of all time. I mean, I think a lot of people remember this because of the finish, because of the turns and the cage door and all that stuff. So
I'll set it up, Ike.
So Ric Flair back then, I mean, it was like Elvis walking down to the ring. I mean, you hated him, but you loved to hate him. And I mean, it was like you were watching royalty come to the ring, and then all of a sudden it's hit Kerry's music. Place goes absolutely nuts. You got Michael Hayes in there with his chest hair all popped out in his jeans. And man, it was just, you could feel it because it was finally going to be the time Kerry was going to win. You know, I'm 8 years old. I didn't understand crap, you know. And so they start going at it. And Flair, he gets his color going. The match starts getting good, and him and Flair Flair and Hayes kind of start getting into it. He pushed him, and Kerry started taking offense to it. Being the good old boy, you can't cheat. We're going to do this the right way, and just like the foreshadowing from earlier, Hayes wasn't having any of it. He was like, no, And so coming up at the end of the match, I'll let you do the end of the match, Dave.
Well, Terry Gordy was the gatekeeper. And the reason that this was, Flair had found a way to escape with the title so many times. And this was a follow-up from the 2 out of 3 fall match that was our first time that we went. And they even wanted to, Hayes was voted as a special enforcer. They gave us a choice of Hayes, Red Bastine. I don't remember the other ones now. But I mean, if it was a legitimate vote, there was no way that Hayes wasn't going to get voted because Hayes came in.
You mean you don't think Red Bastine was going to get the popular vote?
Do not.
But
But Hayes just come in. Freebird Fantasia was running wild. It was, I mean, Hayes was, I mean, he was over.
Would Red Bastine at least win the Electoral College, though? That's the real question.
Oh, goodness. But so Terry Gordy was out there to be the gatekeeper. And the reason I tell you this is that on the recent Tales from the Territories, they were confused and said that this match was an escape the cage match.
Mhm.
That wasn't right at
Why
all.
would there be a gatekeeper for escape the cage? Gordy's job was to keep everybody in and everybody out. So we didn't do the escape match. I mean, if they did them before we became fans, I don't know it. But we never saw a cage match that was escape with an escape rule in world class. From August of '82 forward, that crap never happened.
And Gordy was cutting promos saying he ain't getting out of here. Ain't nobody getting past me. I mean, Gordy was big timing about what he was doing. And so, yeah, that was definitely not correct.
Well, Hayes,
Well, it wouldn't make sense because, like you all are saying, Ric Flair was known for getting out and DQs or whatever and getting away with the title. The whole point was to keep them together so that someone had to win. So it wouldn't make any sense for for it to be the first one to escape. Like that doesn't even make any sense. So
there's no disqualification.
right.
So Hayes had grabbed, I mean, Hayes finally decked Flair, grabbed Kerry and drug Kerry over, put him on top and went to count. And Kerry was like, no, I don't want it that way. So then he's trying to plead with Michael. And Michael finally Gordy's like, come on, they're not listening to you. Come on, Michael, let's go. So, because you can see Gordy motioning him to come on, and they open the cage. So Michael's coming out. Kerry's pleading with Michael. Rick runs over and hits Kerry in the back with a knee. Kerry bumps into Hayes. Hayes falls out of the cage. Gordy thinks that Gordy's stories, he thinks Kerry hit Hayes. Gordy slams that cage door, hits Kerry in the head, and then Kerry's in La La Land after that. I mean, it was like, and you could hear it.
That's a sound you will never forget because it caught him dead in the forehead. Had a big old indentation in his head.
I don't know how that was worked because you could hear it. And I mean, maybe you couldn't hear it, but we all believed we heard it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think even David Manning said that on the Tales of the Territory, just said they thought he really got hit. Like he thought, oh, he really got, Gordy must have really hit him because the way he was acting, I guess. So, I mean, maybe he did, maybe it wasn't as much of a work as they had hoped. No, maybe he really did get caught. I don't know.
But I mean, Kerry and then Flair takes over and they finally stop the match. And I just remember that crowd we were all pissed. I mean, pissed bad. We're in front of our grandmother, pissed off.
Mhm.
But
she was yelling right with us, so that's
I mean-
the fun part about it.
but I mean, we thought there was going to be a riot. I mean, it was bad. But
It
when
had
you but you understand now that this was so perfect. The six-man championship was created for the Von Erich Freebird feud that was set up and perfectly executed on Christmas night of 1982. Think about it. And I will tell you that I truly believe that this is the only six-man championship that ever meant anything,
Mhm.
because they printed money with it. And there wasn't any belts. I mean, in 1984, they finally came up with six-man championship belts.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But it was a trophy.
1984? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was 84 before they ever introduced the belt.
It was a trophy that was it had to be almost 5 foot tall.
Yeah, it was just a trophy. It was a six-man trophy. I remember going to the Sportatorium to see them defend it against the Von Erichs, and it was the Freebirds came out to Willie Nelson's "Georgia on My Mind," and they had Confederate soldiers march to the ring, escorted them to the ring. I mean, it was a whole thing, and that's when Kevin got on there and said, "This isn't a war between Texas and Georgia. It's between decency and filth."
Filth.
But I mean, the Von Erich Freebirds were marquee matchups from here on. I mean, and we couldn't. I mean, it was bothering us because my parents wouldn't let us drive to Fort Worth to see them. Because I mean, I was 16.
How far was Fort Worth?
50
An
miles.
hour and a half.
50 miles.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, well, from our house,
Sure.
from Dallas to Fort Worth, it was just, we were so into it from that point on. I mean, when we went for our birthday in '83, and it was Kevin versus Flair, Gordy versus David in a handcuff match. So, I mean, just getting to see them. I'm trying to remember if we'd been to the Sportatorium before we went to Fair Park to see them.
I think we did.
But I mean, we just go so much, any chance we got. And we did go to Fort Worth for the 4th of July. And then and we'd go and see, then we went to Reunion Arena. We went to Reunion Arena for International Star Wars. And it was supposed to be Kevin getting his rematch against Rick at that point. And they came on the loudspeaker and told us that Ric Flair had lost the championship to Harley Race. So we got Kevin versus Harley Race. And we were disappointed because we want to see Rick.
Sure.
I mean, so it's just, but we got to see Harley Race. But you didn't know about the title change till you got there because we didn't have the internet.
Right. And thinking about that, like you said, the feud was so perfect. It was a very juxtaposition of good versus bad. If you just, like you said, the Von Erichs and their wholesomeness and like you said, rule books, and then the Freebirds were partying and, causing trouble and breaking stuff. I mean, you're right. There probably could not be any finer threesomes like that to go against each other than the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. And like I said, there never will be. It's just a classic piece that you all got to witness, which is super cool. You get to look back at it now and think about it as the 8-year-old and 16-year-old watching it, and then get to go back and pick up on things that maybe you weren't, like you said, picking up on things that maybe you weren't picking up on or didn't even get to hear because you weren't, you didn't get to hear the interviews or in some of the maybe before and behind the scenes things. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really, I was getting ready to say that same thing, Amy. How it's just really awesome to talk to two people that were around for such great wrestling memories, just like this Ric Flair Kerry Von Erich cage match that, really goes down in wrestling lore as a pivotal, or at least a big moment. And you know, these two guys were there, and they were there for a lot of other cool things going on in the 80s. So, you know, thank you, Ike, for coming on here and letting us pick your brain. And I think we're almost out of all the brain of Dave's to pick. We've ran out of brain, so we had to switch over to another Miller. So
Hey, I tell them what we got to do when you were 11.
Which one?
New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
Mother with a run in. I'm glad I didn't say.
So my mother, God bless her, not being the probably back then probably wasn't the best decision, decides that she was gonna let us all go to the first Crockett Memorial Cup in New Orleans.
I was going. I was a grown ass man.
I was stupid and let you take your brother.
So she let me take an 11-year-old to New Orleans.
I had the time of my life though.
I was 20 years old. He was 12.
Oh,
I love the fact that we have three members of the family now on the show with us. His Mama Miller's back there.
filling in some details.
Hi, Mom.
Great. Yeah.
Hi, Miss Miller.
But,
Mama Miller. I like
but
it.
so anyway, we get down to New Orleans, and the drinking age is 18 in New Orleans.
So
back
what
then.
year was this? What year does this?
86
86.
for
Okay.
the Crockett Cups.
Yeah, that was the tag team tournament, right?
$1 million tournament.
Yeah.
So actually, Ike and I are not very. I'm 46, so I'm not much younger than you. If you were 12 and 86, I was 10.
Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine going somewhere that I'm 10 years old. I bet you did have fun.
It's a wonder I came out of there alive.
Oh,
Probably not too far of a drive from Dallas to New Orleans, is it?
Oh, it was hard.
Except
it?
my brother doesn't know how maps worked back then.
was it just you two that went?
We drove down to Houston and went across. It was no. We took my friend. We took two of my friends. My best friend Bo
Mhm.
and my friend Greg Vestal, who was the first friend I ever had. My mom and his mom were best friends. These put us a crib together. He's my first friend.
Oh,
And anyway, me and Bo hit Bourbon Street. Me and Bo and Greg went and hit Bourbon Street, and Ike rode the elevator all night at the Hyatt Regency. I mean, he saw everybody.
Koloff, I rode the elevator with Nikita Koloff, the Road Warriors. You name it. I was having the time of my life till we got
You
back.
just riding the elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed at the Hyatt Regency.
I'm surprised Dave didn't keep you around at 11 years old. You could have been their designated driver on the
We got
way.
in trouble. They came up and told us to calm down because I came back drunk. I hit him in the head with an iron board. We were wrestling.
We had a room with the double beds in it,
hmm
and they picked me up over their head on one side of the room to see how far they could throw me,
Oh my
see if I'd hit
God,
the wall or land onto a bed.
Lord have mercy.
David. No.
Well, I can't say too much. I once power bombed my sister through my mom and dad's bed and broke it, and I caught a little bit of hell for that too.
We rode we rode up with Jim Cornette when we got back off Bourbon Street.
Oh my. What
He
was
was
that
very
like?
nice.
He was. He was
I
still
hope
pretty
if I can
young.
find a picture, if I can find the picture of Ike with the Fantastics, they were real nice to him out front.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Cool.
But I took him to the. Nobody felt like going to the first session of the Crockett Cup, but I took Ike, and I was hungover bad because it was afternoon session, and then you went back for the nighttime session, and I was hungover so bad for the daytime session.
I
But I
bet
feel like
poor
I should-
Ike had been waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
It's like-
He's like, I've been riding up and down this elevator for 8 hours. Can we go watch wrestling now?
Exactly.
But hey, we were live for the coolest move I think I can ever remember. That was the match where Tiger Mask went off the top rope. Magnum TA caught him in a belly to belly off of the top rope.
Yeah.
And then we caught up with Magnum TA. Shoot, what, about 10 years ago now. And he
It's longer than that. It's 2008.
All right, maybe I'm a little older than I think. But as far as New Orleans goes, you got to set the stage that this is full blown Miami Vice attire.
Yep.
So Dave with the afro, long hair,
Yep.
full on white
White
Pink
suit.
pink button up under his white jacket. Had the loafers. I mean,
Are there any
Please.
pictures of this Ike? We'd like to see.
No.
Mama Miller, are there any pictures?
Thank
We
God.
need pictures of Don Johnson Miller.
Exactly.
For
We
sure.
have seen the fro. We
Hey,
have
I've
seen
got
some
the Don
pictures.
Johnson. I own one of those Don Johnson tuxedos now because when I went to Conrad's 80s party, that's what I dressed as. But it's pretty much what I look like going down Burger Street.
he just had a lot less hair.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank Ike for joining us on this wonderful edition. I've had a lot of fun here talking some old WCCW, some 1982. Definitely cool to talk to both of you guys since you were both actually at this event that we covered. Enjoyed looking at those belts, Dave. So please join us on video if you haven't yet, because it's pretty cool to see some of this stuff that Dave's got over there, and the man Dave. And you know, what do you guys got? You can follow us on Twitter at, what is it called, Dave?
At PWD Pod on Twitter.
Yep.
I'm at Ref Super Dave PWD.
Yeah, Ike, you got a Twitter or no?
Yeah, it's half midget leprechaun.
There we go. I'm at JD2040, and Amy is and Amy, what do you have?
I am at AmyRD_24. And just to tag on what you were saying, Justin, about joining us on Twitter, please, when you listen to this recording, go over and give us a 5-star review if you feel it is worthy, because that only helps us out. And so we really, really do appreciate everyone who listens, and give us some feedback too. Like if you liked it or didn't like it, or if there's something you want to hear, we are definitely open, right? Those DMs are open, especially Justin's.
Hey,
Slide up in those DMs. He's good for 8
That's
weeks.
right.
and hey, I'm gonna tell you what, the first one of y'all that can tweet me at the show account at the first one that can tweet it at PWD Pod on Twitter and answer the question, who is Tom Still? Tom Still wrestled in world class after this, but he wasn't called Tom Still. So the first one that can tweet me who the identity of Tom Still, I'll mail you a jar of Pondwater and a promo pic from Ric Flair's last match.
And we also have to check your cookies and everything on your phone to make sure you didn't Google it, if that's possible.
I was going to say, and he'll also give you the DL on the Mandy Rose information that he finds out, the investigation he's going to be doing.
Call 1-900-909-9900.
Call 1-900 Mandy's Blood.
Poor girl.
All right. Well, like I said, once again, thank you guys.
I don't even think she poops out of it.
Oh, she don't even do that.
I don't think it was immaculate looking.
She's at least a baby wipe girl.
Lord, help me.
All
Merry
right.
Christmas.
All right, everyone.
Hey, thank y'all, and Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope everybody has a safe and happy holiday season. Merry Christmas.
That's right. I guess we are up on it, ain't we? Next week. So as you guys are listening to this on Monday, it'll be Christmas week. So of course, we wish the best for all of you guys that listen to this show and your families. And for Pondwater Dave, for Amy Vaughn, and for the great Ike Miller, Pondwater's brother, my name is Justin Davis, and I'm saying peace and love and hooday. And we will see you next
Get out of
week.
here with that bullshit.
Bye-bye.